Hi, it's me, Khandie, and this is my review of the SWPP 2024 convention. The SWP, the Societies of Women Portrait Photography Convention 2024. There we go. I did one previously. You can watch that here somewhere. And I was asked during the convention, I'm going to do another one. And I figured, why not? Why not? Because it benefits everybody. And I feel like it's really nice to have a completely different perspective for the most, if not for the whole part of it. I need to preface that I attended only the Friday and the Saturday. As much as it started a day before, I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, I'm unable to attend those days. I had work on and it'd been long booked in. Also, there wasn't, as much as I wanted to attend a masterclass, I knew that the ones I wanted to attend were on the days I couldn't make in. So I didn't buy any masterclass tickets. I absolutely gutted now because there was definitely one I missed when I was skimming through the masterclasses that I should have gone to, but I didn't. So gutted, but I was there for the Friday, and I was there for the Saturday, and that included the evening event that was the award ceremony. First off the bat, I think it's time they got into a bigger room. I'm going to say this now, the trade show is very hot in there anyway, but it's quite cramped. There is walkways, but as people, you know, when you get print displays and you've got printing companies, they've got the big displays, you've got people nestled in corners, and I feel like it just needs a bit more breathing space, and I feel like the live stage that they've got at the back could do with some seating, and it might encourage more people to sit there. I did like the little breakout room that was on one side, but I do think it needs to be a little bit bigger now. It just feels a little bit cramped in. And that's just a personal preference, but as I was speaking to a couple of other people, they were like, yeah, it's a little bit cramped now. It's a little bit too cozy. And it seemed a lot more popular on the Friday and the Saturday than I've seen it in the previous year. So I'm going to say maybe now it's time just to look to expand that out. Just that. Again, though, no Nikon, which is really weird. And I can't understand why they're not there. I don't know. If anyone knows, put it in the comments below why Nikon were not there on Nikon. Now, it is held at the Novotel London West, which is in Hammersmith, which is relatively easy to get to. But the hotel, this is not to do with the SWPP, but just the hotel. If you're going to order anything, it's going to take a very long time. It's a cash-only bar. We're having the world's worst coffee that I waited 28 minutes for. I know that because I counted it, it's hilarious. That's the hotel and their staffing, and some of them were absolutely wonderful. But let's get on to the Friday, and I'll talk about like the trade show, and then we'll go about the evening. So I went into the trade show. I was staying in the hotel with Emma, Joanne, and Sarah. So I went into the trade show, had a mooch about, saw a couple things, saw some friends, Tommy Reynolds, Gavin Hoey, saw Tiana, saw people that I knew and people I was excited to see, and I went to see the 20x16 competition print that was in there. And I submitted mine, and I found out on I think it was the Thursday, I got an email to say one of mine did not score at all. Well, not in the way that it would be displayed, which was a bit of a shock, I think, for my students who actually selected it, because that image was used quite a lot from one of the companies that the equipment I used to shoot on, and it got quite a lot of praise online. But it just goes to show what is popular amongst the general public technically might not be popular amongst the judges. So that one. The other one, I just I'll be open, I scraped him. And it was my picture of Benji. I got, I think, 81, 82, I can't remember now, which gives me a merit. I got a little rosette. And I found it, and it was wonderful. And what was really nice is while I was stood there looking at it, because I met up with some friends, while I was stood there looking at it, a guy said how much he liked it because it wasn't very stylized, like he was seeing quite a lot of it, and it looked very cool and very different. So for me is a massive win. And that's perfect. Also, that image has been hugely popular again online and has been used on the Spotify for this artist. It's been used on his marketing material. So for me, that's a win. But to see it up there was really nice, especially as a rosette. And in the past, I've only think I've submitted once before and I never got on. I have said about how I don't think my work really fits in with what the judges seem to like. And when other people sort of pointed out how different my work was, I still think there is an element of a style that is there, and I'm not trying to be horrible. I know they've said that that's not, but you know, I was listening to people, I was interacting with people. There is a certain style that is liked, and I then had to came to the sort of conclusion that judges are judging for other photographers, not for the client. And it's a slightly different mindset. So they're looking at technicality and creativity and all sorts of things. My friend did go into the judging room and listen to them and actually caught the judgment about mine. And I did happen to listen in to seeing people, how they went and judged images. So that was quite nice. But do you know what? I got some amazing feedback on my images, and Even though it only got a merit in the 20x16 print, it actually got shortlisted as a gold image to go forward towards Photographer of the Year in commissioned portrait. So there was like this weird juxtaposition that I barely got in on the 20x16, but the same image actually got in for Photographer of the Year as commissioned portrait. But I'm told that kind of, if you get any golds in the monthly competition, which is what these competition and ultimately end up in, definitely put it in for the print comp. So that's what I did. That was thanks to advice from one of my fellow photographer friends. So it was a bit of a weird one, but I was like, yeah, I was really excited to have the rosette, especially as this was an achievement on last year, and I could spot my friends' work, and it was good. Rolling on from that, going to the award dinner, it was really fun. You pay £70, you go down. I didn't get any of the free drinks, mainly because they ran out of what we were going to drink, and then it took ages to get it, and then they forgot it, and then when we went back to the bar, they'd run out of it again. And the bar at the it's the bar. This is not on the show itself, but the bar, no. That bar, I think there were lots of people a bit annoyed. I waited 15 minutes after getting a drink to try and pay for it, because there was like people talking but not talking to. It was just a mess. It was just a mess. I'm going to say that now. It was just a mess. The award, it was great. I sat with some great people. I sat with my friends. Everyone was cheering. It was wonderful. It was really lovely to see so many photographers up there. I was really shocked when I saw my images up on the big screen. That was quite a lovely experience. And again, really shocking for me was that I barely got in on the judges' 20x16 print, like with the 81, 82, whatever it was, and then actually was shortlisted to win in a category. I did not win either one of my categories, but after the thousands of entries that had gone in, to be placed in the top 3, 4, whatever it was, in the top level, to be selected out of those was going to be the winner. That was quite cool. At one point, it was just me and another guy in the category, so that was a bit of a shock. But I didn't win, and I don't care. Isn't that weird? Because I feel like when there's been that many thousands of entries and you still get into that top level, you're up on the stage, and you people are the ones that they are going to select from. I felt great. I loved that. I thought that was brilliant. And my friends were cheering. There was people at the back of the room cheering when they called my name. So I feel like that's really cool. Everyone was saying like the food isn't great. I didn't mind the food. And actually people said, no, the food previous years hasn't been great. It was good this time. So it was cool. That's not really what I'm there for, not for the food. I really enjoyed the event. I may go again. I do think it's a lot of money, but I get the prizes supposedly really good if you win. And I do think from like a social aspect, it's really nice. And to see your friends win, I think that's wonderful. So I probably would go again. The after party was brilliant. There was loads of people in the bar area. Again, we're not talking about the bar because it was slower than slow on a slow day. And they also had us to contend with, and they had regular people who were staying in the hotel, and it was slow, but I think that's just because I have no idea. So we sat there and it was a nice mix. I got to speak to some great people. There was an interesting development during the evening. So a lot of people came over to go, oh my God, you're Khandie, and was being really nice. There were so many nice things said to me. And I was like, what's going on? Why is everyone being really nice? And it turns out I just haven't put myself out in the sites to people know who I am or get to know me. But there's so many nice things. There was one slight dampening moment where someone felt the need to come over and tell me, and they don't get what the hype about me is, and they think I'm trash. So that was a bit of an interesting, but I'm not going to do the names. I just think like, you know what? You're always going to come against people who don't like you. And I think a lot of people are like this because maybe they just don't gel with your personality, or maybe they want to be where you are, or they just feel a bit inadequate, so they lash out at anybody. And it could have been really random. I'm not sure how that conversation came up and why that person did what they did. I'm not hating on anyone, but it's just a weird situation. But I soon blased over that. It was really nice to sit with a couple of people who were looking at my work and was like telling me how great it was. Like, this is the one they really liked. This is what they love. Why didn't I put that one in? I said I had, and it hadn't placed anywhere. And they're like, oh my God. And there was all this sort of stuff. And that was really nice because it just goes to show, while the judges are amazing, and they are, because they do it a lot, and there's a lot of training that goes into judges, the fact is that people can still love your work, and you shouldn't get stuck on the fact that judges didn't like your work, or didn't meet their criteria. So I had a blast. I thought the whole evening was pretty much amazing apart from that little blip. I got to bed about 3 a.m. And I woke up about 7:30 I looked awful, pretty much how I look now, but I have been outside in this blistering wind and I've been doing a shoot, so a bit different. Let's talk about day 2. So Saturday, I met up with the girlies and we went around. I met up with my friend Steve, who is an accomplished street photographer. Greetings from the SWPP trade show convention.
Here's Steve Streets, also known as my photography husband.
Not really, like bestie, wrangler when I'm a dickhead, my social conscience. Basically someone who goes, no, Khandie, and I go, with Steve. But we're going to go back in, probably fangirl over maybe Tommy Reynolds, Gavin. Who are you going to fangirl over?
Gavin now, I met him. He's a lovely bloke. I love Gavin.
We all love Gavin.
Gavin's lovely.
We wandered around. I attended a lot of seminars that day, both on stands and in the little breakout area. We looked at some of the photography again from the 20x16 competition, showed him my work, like you do, and chatted, and we met some great humans. I got some great feedback. So many people were talking to me about my work. I met up with somebody who I knew. I met some Norwegians, and I practiced my Norwegian because, I'm out in Norway quite a bit, and they were really lovely to me. I did quite a lot, and it was that was a very much nicer networking day, meeting people, interacting with people and making new friends, but also hearing some great feedback about my work. People say how much they loved my YouTube. Like, it's only small in its infancy. I'm not trying to toot like everyone was like clamoring after me, but it was just really nice that people are starting to see me a lot more online. Ego boost. I saw Tommy again, and I saw Gavin, and I got some pictures. I even went to see Terry Donnelly, who was on the Rotalight stand, and I got some picture of Emma, who is MZ model, who's a petite model, who I photographed for Shadows of Shakespeare, which is a flow state event. But I'll put some pictures up for you. Here's my thing. It was very evident on the Saturday just how rammed it was getting. Saturday was a very busy day. And when people have demos, they're often on the corners of something or a walkway. It's too crammed. The SWPP, I urge you just to get a slightly bigger room. Because, when people are watching, everyone's trying to bustle past and you can't really see. You just need that little bit more space to breathe, and everyone's not crammed in a corner or missed. But it was a nice day. I met so many people. I did not stay to the very bitter end. I decided that I'd had what I needed out of it. I packed up and we started to walk home. Went out into Hammersmith and did some street photography and stuff. But these are my certificates. Now, we're not going to say anything about the fact that my name's spelt wrong in these. We're just going to accept them. I got these. These are to say that I was the nominees for Documentary Photographer of the Year and Commissioned Portrait Photographer of the Year. So that's quite nice. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. It has been a busy 2024, but in conclusion, I think the SWP needs to have a bigger room. I love the diversity they're doing of different types of photography and different presenters, which I think is really, really key. I like the fact their website is very much up to date now. There was, I remember I mentioned the last one, it's taken a bit of time to sort of, I feel like they're starting to get a lot more stuff that it shouldn't all be about what I like. I get that, but it's starting to really be more inspiring for maybe what I'm seeing. A lot of the content I'm seeing, a lot of the images that I'm being submitted are a lot more in line with what I'm seeing as the trends in photography and the more popular stuff. And I like seeing that development, moving away slightly from the painterly fine art stuff, because I see it in the monthly competitions coming on. And I also saw it when we were sat having chats with people around the place. They were talking about how, it's nice to see this is changing and we're doing more of this. It was nice to have photographs taken with people and people talk about what I did. I still think there is an element of a style that is liked, and that's why I think some people are reluctant to submit to the competition, because I don't understand. Right, forgive me, and maybe I've got this wrong. How I can score so low on the 20x16 and yet still get into the shortlist to be Photographer of the Year in Documentary or Commissioned Portrait with that same image. And that was a bit that I found like it was a little odd. Like my brain doesn't commute how it's barely gets it just scrapes in on a merit in that category, but it was amazing. I don't know, maybe I'm being a dick. I think I'm being a dick. I'm also trying to better myself. That's the main thing. So in conclusion, I think that SWPP definitely needs a bigger room. We need room to breathe. We need move that. I think it does need the little eeks they need to talk to the hotel about the quality of service when you're paying 70 odd pound for a ticket and you can't even get a Diet Coke and it takes 20 odd minutes to simply pay. I think that's ridiculous. Again, that is something that needs to be fed back. But what I've understood is that's quite common at this place, but I don't know. That's just what someone mentioned it to me at my table. I do absolutely love the tropes. I think they're beautiful. I love how everyone was up there presenting. It was very slick. That was just wonderful. That part of it, that organisation side was brilliant. There's nothing to fault on that side. It's kind of like the little hiccups, such as the hotel just needs a little bit of fine tuning, because I think that would have made the experience all the more wow. I do think we need more room for store holders to sort of breathe in their spaces. And I think they are slowly engaging with a more, I don't want to say younger, that's not what I'm trying to say, but hipper, I don't really know, like a more photographically forward. I don't know how to say, it's like audience. There is a fresher feel coming in the people attending and the images submitting. And I think that has been a long time coming. And having spoke at great length to people in the bar and people online and just chatting with my friends and other photographers who are both in the SWPP and not, they were all starting to see it starting to come into it. And I feel like this is the year of change and they're starting to show improvement. I think that's a really big thing that is really good for them. I feel like there's quite a few competitive conventions out there. Obviously, there's the massive one in March. You've got the new Click Expo that's happening in June. And I think to hold itself own and to attract more people, it needs to keep on the trajectory it's on and just fine tune these little moments, because having these great big stars on there, like Gavin's got a massive following, Tommy's got a massive following, Jay Keisha Gould, massive following, Tiana, massive following. There's so many people who are very much popular online Instagram who may be on the masters of photography, and they by the way, that's not discrediting, they are freaking incredible. But it's nice to see the ones that are catching the very savvy online internet user, photographer, those people, catching them right and getting them to present. I think that's really good. I would love to see them perhaps bring some more shockingly fashion forward stuff in, maybe some more dynamic portrait, like let's get some crazy gel lighting going on, let's get some motion, things like that, just things that we're not really seeing as much in the demos as we are now, although there is great scope. Terry definitely did that, and I know for a fact that Gavin definitely did. But I want it to be, if you're going to do me a fashion shoot, let's go all out, let's go nuts, let's do something absolutely Lady Gaga worthy, because I feel like that's going to draw more people in. I would be wrong if I did not put this in, because quite a few people mentioned this to me and I kind of do see what they're saying. I don't think there is enough in the trade show to keep people there for as long as it is. I know the idea is to encourage people to go do the super classes, the master classes, but even the free stuff, it needs to be made more of an impact. The live stage was on. I think that's great. I think that's wonderful. But there needs, I think there needs to be just a little bit more in that trade show going on. There just needs to be something extra in there, more space. Maybe have longer free shows or more going on, because there were people on the stands who had things happening. But people said that, you went round it and you were done. Like you didn't need to be there for longer than 2 hours unless there was someone specific you wanted to wait around for. It didn't. And then obviously you would go wait in the bar and it would take 20, 30 minutes to get a drink. Everyone was kind of like, it's just frustrating. So I am just going to put that in. I know that I went round really quickly, but I only popped in and then waited till the seminars that I wanted were on. So I didn't really spend much time, but I can imagine if you traveled down to attend the SWPP convention and maybe couldn't afford or chose not to spend the money on the masterclass and superclass, because they are expensive relatively. I know you get a lot of education for what you get, but I do think, people are cutting back on how much they're spending. I can see why. One of the other things I thought would be really good, was if they had like a people's library. I've done this before when I've done seminars. I've been asked to sit there and people can ask me questions. It's like a Q&A. I think that would be a great thing to add to the SWPP, like a little breakout thing where you can like hire the person to question them. Not in anything like offensive or like, but like, hey, Professor blah blah blah, how did you get your start in photography? Like almost like you can sit there and ask questions. And I think that would be a great meet and greet, particularly when people are just starting out. And rather than have it like a big huge panel, you could have them sat in little breakout areas and people could then go and have it. And it works so well at some of the other places I've attended. In fact, I was included in one and it was just so wonderful. Yeah, I ended up having like 15, 16 people coming to chat to me about various things about my career, also what I did. But I think I personally would like to go and ask people these questions. And I feel like that would be a great thing to add to the SWPP. I think that would be a great thing for the convention. I'm not sure how it would work in dynamics, but what a great sort of like you could check out as if it was a library, a person ask them all these questions and they could answer it. And I think that's like, you could have like 10, 15 minutes with them. I think that would be a great thing to have, but that's just something I was speaking about because I don't think the trade show in itself is enough to entice people in. Yes, they have great seminars and stuff, but if you're making that huge journey, I think it needs a little bit more in its work. And it would have been so lovely to have maybe the people who were up for awards, they had a little bio on them on the side so you could get to know them. And maybe, I don't know, there's just some little things on there, I think maybe, but maybe I'm saying maybe a lot. I know I am. Perhaps it's just too much. I don't know, but I feel if you want people to stay for the trade show and almost be enticed into getting a superclass or a masterclass pass, there needs to be that little bridge in the gap between the free shows, a mini break, like a mini low cost thing, and then pay for those big tickets, because I think they were like 180 or whatever it was. God, that's a scratch on me. 180 is quite pricey. And it's January, everyone's out of Christmas, and you know, everyone's very budget conscious. And yeah, I don't know. Anyway, and I have to say, I think this year is definitely an improvement on the previous years. So well done, SWPP. I did get told that you did watch my last video on this because I got a message via LinkedIn about it. And I think that's quite nice of you to know that you took it on board and bore no ill will on it, as far as I'm aware. But I did think it was really good. So here's to SWPP Convention 2025, I guess, when it arrives. But they've already released the dates. So there.